I want people to think about what I'm about to say. I'm not just saying this to Met fans. I'm saying this also to Braves fans. Whether it be skill or dumb luck, do you guys find it suspicious at how the Braves could somehow miraculously win 77 of their last 109 games? Do you find it suspicious? I do. More so in July through now when they put Ronald Acuna Jr. back in the lineup regularly. Everyone remembers the Astros 2017 cheating sign stealing scandal. I think the Braves have taken this to the nth level. Now, they're not using a track. Now, before anyone jumps on me, let me explain. Are the Braves using a trash can and a bullpen camera at Truist Park to do this? No. Especially when you consider that the bullpens in Truist Park, more so with the Braves bullpen, is more in right center field underneath the State Farm Insurance neighborhood, not not straightaway center, or like it was with the Astros pen out in Minute Maid. Either that or it's a straight line of sight. Or either that or the Braves bullpen is located in left field underneath the Henry Aaron Terrace. But regardless, they're not using that tactic. Instead, they're using living cameras, their own players, specifically Acuna. When he gets on base and the catcher is dumb enough to telegraph what the pitch is, he'll give a visual cue and steal the sign, and the hitters will know what's coming. And I think this has been going on since June. The only problem is because it's quote unquote legal and using the human element as opposed to a technological element, Rob Manfred's not going to do anything. No retroactive disqualifications, no banning Brian Snitker for a year, no banning the GM of the Braves, no loss of draft picks, nothing. And even if he did do something, all the Braves would get is a slap on the wrist. If I was commissioner of Major League Baseball, I would put a massive ass crackdown around on sign stealing, both with use of the human element and both the organic and the technological elements alike. Basically, I would just threaten players on all teams. You will be watched, constantly surveillance by cameras on the ball field. And if you're caught stealing signs to benefit your team, you're gone from the major leagues for the rest of the year. From the season on, from the day you get caught doing it on film. So yeah, if I was commissioner, I'm not going to just slap the team on the wrist. I'm taking a meat cleaver out and chopping the wrist clean off the arm and letting the stump bleed. In addition to going to the lengths to the punishments both the Astros of 2017 and the Red Sox of 2018 got hit. You could also say Buck tried too hard to play the matchups that gave him tunnel vision this weekend. And was too willing to give Francisco Alvarez a chance. Personally, we should have brought Alvarez in sooner. Doing it now was a case of too little, too late. You don't do that. Billy Epler buckled under the pressure at that point. That being said, Mets have had a great run this year, but I wish it was better with a division crown, not a wild card spot. Which means we get 2 to 3 extra games to have to knuckle up, whether that's against San Diego or against Philadelphia. And if I'm DeGrom, I would just pop that damn blister instead of playing through it. I mean, just cut it open, put some Neosporin on it, tape it up, and then just get back to where you were. Or instead of trying to grind through it until that damn thing pops of its own volition. Because let's face it, we're not using DeGrom in the finale. I think we're going to go to Peterson and turn it to a battery game on Wednesday. In the end, Mets' hubris at looking at the September schedule after the Dodgers bit him in the ass in terms of getting the division crown, failing to get the divisional crown. And you can also say that Atlanta cheated. The only difference is they're using the human element, and that's usually within the margin of error, so they'll usually turn a blind eye to it. If it was me running the MLB, I would not turn a blind eye to it and punish it on the spot. Because let's face it, Bob Manfred, he's a wishy washy little pussy. Didn't take the titles away from Houston and Boston in 2017 and 18, respectively. Basically got threatened by the U.S. government, specifically Joe Biden and Stacey Abrams, to pull last year's All-Star game out of Atlanta and into Denver, showing who the real Jim Crow politicians are, specifically Biden, specifically old Jim Crow Joe, who for him, being Jim Crow is quid pro quo. Which proves Bob Manfred is a weak willed little wishy washy little wuss who should be given a damn, who should be given a pink slip, as far as I'm concerned. So, in conclusion, did Atlanta cheat from June up until now? Yes. And if they win the 2022 World Series, in my opinion, it's going to feel tainted. Last year they couldn't get away with that because Acuna blew out his leg before the all blew his ripped his ACL before the an MCL before the All-Star break. And they had to gut it out without him and couldn't use that tactic. So they had to play the rest of that year fair. This year, they had Acuna back, so they were going all out playing. After May wrapped up, they went all out playing foul. Granted, April and May is usually where Snicker is not at his best as a manager. Or historically, to be fair. There, the Braves don't really turn on usually until after the All-Star break. At least in the years since 2018 when Snicker righted the ship, so to speak. But that said, next year I want eyes like hawks on the Braves if they're going to do this sort of shit again. Now, I don't know how many games each team will play their division rivals for this next year. I'll double check. '23 schedule. Here we go. calendar format. We have 4 with the Braves to start at the end of April, start of May. 3 midway through at the early point of June. So that's 7. 10 with 3 more in August. 13. So apparently every divisional game, everyone one within the division is only going to play each other 13 times next year. And keep in mind, I am not a Triskadelophobic. And for those who don't know what Triskaidenophobia is, it's the fear of the number 13. And this comes as a trade-off of everyone having to play every team going after each other next season. And no shift. Now I'm going to be blunt. Next year, I think every team is going to struggle, including Atlanta. And this new schedule structure next year is going to take a lot of getting used. Everyone, a lot to get used to. And even Braves fans could agree with me on that. That next year, with the way the schedule has been rearranged and every team within a division is only going to be playing each other 13 times instead of the traditional 19, which means at most you can get only 52 wins as opposed to 58, as opposed to 68. Only 19 times 4 other teams. 76 wins, excuse me. Where you can get only 52 wins instead of 76. It's going to take a lot of getting used to. And that's going to take a bit of getting used to. And knowing Chris the Entertainer, that means he's going to be streaming fewer Mets games since there's going to be more of them where he's going to have to bounce around with an 8 o'clock and a 8, 9, and even 10 o'clock time start and game start times. And that means even fewer games I can keep track of because of those time starts. It'll also depend on what games the Mets get nationally that I'll be able to watch, more so with the Fox network than the other networks. Especially when you consider that ESPN has been taken off most streaming apps. Same thing with how my local Bali Sports Network is not on streaming apps, and the Bali Sports app in general is region locked for the South, is heavily region locked. And you get the situation I'm stuck with. The number of ball games I'm able to watch, let alone call down here with my TV setup, is limited and very finite. In the end, I don't care how it pans out, but I'm planning to do a podcast on October the 7th, is when the 6th, when the season wraps up, and we get to and we get to look at the baseball playoff structure, and make our pick and make my picks. If anyone wants to join me, they're free to do so. Leave a comment, smash a like, sub to the channel. Mets 2128 saying out. Goodbye. Good fucking night. Bang.